is sponsored by txcitizen.com, local New Braunfels news that's exclusively online and completely free. Also sponsored by the Texas Gamers Lounge, now with 2 locations in San Marcos and Austin. Both locations feature all-you-can-play pinball, arcades, modern and retro consoles for only $9.99. Hello and welcome to another episode of Pop Culture Geekery. I'm Joe Solis, and this is my co-host and my lovely wife, Sarah Childs. Say hi, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
So we're going to do a review of the new movie Toy Story 4. And so we just got to see this weekend, and we know it's probably going to make $1 gajillion, but we wanted to go ahead and give our thoughts on it because I just want to start off by saying I did not want a Toy Story 4. When they first announced this, I was so scared about this movie because the original 3 were just so perfect and they ended on a perfect note. And there's been too many times in Hollywood that we've seen that they just run a franchise into the ground. So I was super scared about this movie, but I wanted to let all of you know that you can be at ease because they actually did it. They actually made a good part 4. So yay, yes. Yay, Disney and Pixar.
Yay, Disney Pixar.
But yeah, because I mean the series itself is over 20 years old. And the movies have been so spread out that, you know, I was showing part 1 to our actor friend Lila the other day, who you've seen in some of our videos. She plays any part that requires a teenager, and she saw part 1 and she was like, "Man, the CGI has come a long way." And I was like, "Yeah, I guess it has." I guess I kind of forgive the first movie because, you know, it's from the 90s, but you know, the main thing with the Toy Story movies is they've always had a good theme that anchors each of them and has made them so good. You know, so the first movie was what happens when a new toy replaces an old toy, which is an old favorite. The second movie, you know, brought up the question, are toys for playing with or are they for collecting? You know, and then part 3 is what happens when you outgrow your toys. And so, you know, this one had a couple of different themes. I'll go ahead and let you kind of expound on them. So tell us some of the themes here. I know it centers around one of your new favorite characters.
Oh yeah, one of my new favorite characters is Forky. He's hard to mistaken because he's the only one in the trailer that's a spork.
Yeah.
So a lot of the movie, it's kind of taken off by Forky's identity crisis, and they show it in the trailer because he talks about how he was made for some chili or some soup, and then eventually the trash, and then he promptly jumps out the window after that, which, as you may infer from that starts part of the adventure that Woody is trying to go after him, so we have like a little theme of an identity crisis there, like what is my purpose? What happens if you don't have a purpose? What happens if a child makes a toy? Because they show him coming home in the backpack, and he has to kind of cope with the fact that he's a toy. And then after that, we go into Woody's loyalty to his kid, because that's Woody, as we've seen in all the other movies, that's Woody's driven purpose is, okay, if I belong to this child, then I'm supposed to make this child happy and guide them. And so Woody, thinking that Forky is the most important toy now, decides that, you know, he needs to get Forky to make Bonnie happy. And in case you don't remember, Bonnie is the little girl that Andy ends up giving all his old toys to. Also, we have the overall question of whatever happened to Bo Peep answered in this movie. Yeah. They kind of do a little backtrack in there so they can tell us what happens to her. I think the third movie we were discussing, I don't think she's even in the third movie.
She's not.
She's not in the third movie, so they kind of had to. I think some fans after that were like, "Where's Bo Peep? We actually cared about her." So they did some backtracking here so they could tell us what happened to her and then bring her back in. You obviously see her in the trailer. Her outfit has changed, which goes with. I don't want to ruin anything, so I'm not going to go into depth, but kind of like goes with what she's been doing since last time she saw her Woody and the rest of the gang. So that's some cool cosplay opportunity there. A lot of good cosplay opportunity there.
Yeah, I can't wait to cosplay as Bo Peep. So.
Oh, good. good. Well, that'll be fun. It'll be a fun gender bender.
But yeah, it definitely, man, they made her such a strong character. I mean, she was kind of a one note character in the past. She was just supposed to be that, the cute little, toy that Woody would flirt with, and then that was pretty much it. Mm-hmm. But man, they take her character and they just crank her into high gear. Like she's such an awesome character now. I think so many people are going to love her so much more now. And yeah, like you were saying, it's that those are the things about any of the Toy Story movies, like hitting the themes that really hit you in the heart, because, and there's so many little details. Oh my God, the detail in this movie, speaking of, Lila's comment about the improvement of CGI over the years, the detail in this movie is amazing. Like Pixar always brings their A team for these movies. And it's just, I know it's funny because I think was it part 2? Yeah, I think it was part 2. The first time I remember them introducing dust. I know it's a funny thing to say, but like the toy Squeaky in that one, he's up on a shelf and Woody goes to get him and Wheezy. Yeah. And every time, there's like, it shows that they actually interact with the environment and it's all dusty where he is. This one actually, they do show it in the trailer, but obviously you see in the trailer the settings are a carnival, but actually more of it happens in the antique store that's shown in the trailer, and that is where the animators shine. And it's mainly in the environments because obviously the toys themselves have to keep a consistent look, even though they look shinier and better designs, more detail than the original movie, but you have to keep them. It has to still look like the characters. And the humans in this world, they still have a cartoony look. They definitely have more realism to them, but overall they still have a, very animated look to them. But the environments are very much real environments. You could easily have these environments in a movie and have live actors, like digitally and put it into them, and I don't think you could tell the difference. Like they've gotten that good, and that was amazing to see all the detail. I definitely would want to go watch it again just to see all that, because I really do appreciate having friends who work in that industry, how much time it takes to do all that and to make it look that good. So that was one of the things that stood out to me. What were some of the other things that stood out to you? Just anything about the movie, anything else. I just feel like gushing about this movie. So
of course, fanboy over here.
Yeah.
Well, as always, we had some really good humor, and I feel like they did a really good job of like family humor everybody could enjoy. As soon as Forky came on the scene, I was uncontrollably laughing. Yes. I don't know how long, 10 minutes or how.
His whole introductory scene, which lasts a little while. So
yeah,
I'm gonna go into a montage.
Yeah. So I was uncontrollably laughing to the point that I was like tearing up, and I was like trying to shelter myself against Joe because I didn't want to annoy the people around us too much. I was like, I just can't stop. What's wrong with me? Yeah. It was real good. I mean, I can't, I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but It was definitely funny.
Well, we did have some other new characters. That's the only thing that if I had to nitpick, it would be some of the older characters lose some of the focus, because we did have a handful of new characters. And technically, you could argue that Bo Peep is one of them, because even though she's an old character, this was her time to shine. So she got a lot. Yeah. I would even say she got more attention than Buzz Lightyear.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was another thing, too, that Buzz was kind of relegated to the background. And I was Not well, kind of. Like I feel like he did some of his
has some
classic
parts.
stuff, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it was pretty surprising. It was more Woody and Bo Peep's story, and but Buzz, obviously, he does play an important part because he's one of the major characters of this franchise. Um, but the whole idea, of the especially the creating a toy, you know. I grew up obviously with toys. I grew up in the 80s, so I had, all the classic toys, G.I. Joe, Transformers, He-Man, all those classic properties that already came put together. But, I was trying to think back, did I ever create a toy or anything like that? And I'm sure there's stuff I'm not remembering, but one thing that came to mind, and this is what really hit it home for me with this movie, showing how important Forky was to Bonnie simply because she made him. you know. And one time I remember getting the classic Army Men set, which actually appeared in the early Toy Story movies, and sitting down with my dad, and he knew I liked G.I. Joe, so we just simply took the Army Men, split them in half, left half of them green, and we painted the other ones blue and red, because those were like primary colors for Cobra soldiers from G.I. Joe. So that was just one of my personal favorite memories.
The nerding started at an early age, everyone. You heard it here. This was where it all began.
Oh, it started at an early age. In fact, I'm going to save this spot right here for a picture to show you just how early in an age it started, and maybe even before then. So I'll put the year up on this because I got to think about it for a second. But but anyway, yeah. But anyway, so that's one power of these movies is that they all appeal to us who grew up with toys, and you see a lot of toys that you might have seen growing up. A lot of little things in the background, like like at one point they use one of those sticky slaps. The things you grab. It's like just little things. Not even like that's not even like a brand name toy. It's just something that everybody picked up out of gumball machines or something.
See them too.
Yeah.
Sticky hand. You're just
Yeah, so just little details in this movie like that, and in all the other movies have always made them so great. So, but yeah, so I just feel like we're just going to continue to gush about the movie. So I mean, definitely go see it. You've got to go see it. Well, you got to understand, I like I told you at the beginning of this episode, I did not want this movie. Mm-hmm. I really didn't. I was so scared, and I'm glad that there was a lot of changes behind the scene before it actually came out. Because I think there was supposed to be a different type of movie that we were going to get a couple of years back. So I'm glad that it evolved into this, because this is so much better. And whether or not they make more, I mean, it's kind of like part 3. I was satisfied. I'm still satisfied here. I mean, I'm just glad it was good. If they do another one, it's going to be the same thing.
It's okay. It's not often we get to talk, or we get to see Joe talk about a movie he actually might give a good rating to.
Very funny. So the last thing before we give our ratings, just let you know, there is 4 mid-credit scenes. They all kind of feed into each other, so just stay seated. And there is one scene at the very end of the credits that's kind of a payoff of a running gag, which is pretty funny. So... but yeah, is there anything else you want to say before we give our rating?
Oh, yes. Since Joe has volunteered to cosplay as Bo Peep, you heard it here. I think that if you want this to happen, you should definitely leave a comment. You leave a comment, and if Joe dresses as Bo Peep, then I will dress as Woody, because that would be what would be appropriate to go to the con. So that's. If we get enough votes, we might convince Joe, everybody.
Yeah.
He's always the one that's difficult to convince, especially if it's a gender bender. He doesn't like doing gender benders.
Because I don't think anybody wants to see that. They don't want to see me as a gender bender or anything.
They want to see it for comedic effect. They want to see it.
You want to see it for comedic effect.
Yeah, me and everybody else.
Anyway.
This will serve as my proof.
Back to Toy Story 4. So, are you ready to give ratings?
Yeah.
Okay, well, so this one, for me, like the way I've started trying to think about how to rate movies is, how is it making me feel throughout the whole movie? This one, I started at a solid 8 for sure. Like I was like, there's nothing that's going to bring this movie down unless they just do something horrible at the end, Yeah, but it was a solid 8. But I will say that ending and the resolution, every Toy Story film has some sort of villain, quote unquote. I say that because there's arguments both ways about some of them, but the resolution with this movie's villain kicked it up to a 9 for me, because it was just like, oh my God. Oh yeah, take tissues to this movie because you are going to cry.
Did you cry?
I think, no, I teared up a little bit. I choked up a little bit, but I didn't actually shed a tear. But there was some moments that I'm like, oh my God, my heart.
Yeah.
So
Some heart moments.
what about you?
Yeah, I think that there were definitely some heart moments, and then of course I was tearing because I was laughing so hard. So, but yeah, actually, we might actually agree for once. Wow! Insert exclamatory scene here. So, I am going to give this movie a 90, which is an A. Which is comparable to Joe's score, even though normally it's not, because I don't know, he has some kind of warped scale that I don't understand. But I think we can agree that this one is a 90, and Joe's 9 might actually mean a 90 today. I'm not sure. He's gonna have to convert for us. I don't understand it.
Yeah. No, I mean it's almost one of the best movies I've ever seen. That a 10 is one of the best movies I've ever seen. So That's what it means. So. But anyway, so yeah, definitely go check it out. See it multiple times to catch all the detail. But just want to say thank you to all of you who have subscribed. We have officially surpassed 150 subscribers. Woohoo! So and then we have some other upcoming things that hopefully will drive subscribers up more, but we'll reveal that later at the end of the month. But other than that, we do want to thank you for continuing to watch. If you like this video, please hit like. Check out all our social media and the links below. We do post a lot of updates about just movies in general, trailers, other comic news. There was some big comic news this week, so check our Facebook for that. But other than that, we will see you guys next time.
Don't forget to comment, Bobby. Comment, Bobby.